Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Mo Money, Mo Problems podcast, a podcast dedicated to the trials, triumphs, and insights of green industry business owners. I'm your host, Matt Foreman. And today we have with us Ryan Dittes, the owner of RD's Total Lawn out in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. So now Ryan's story is one that I think a lot of us can relate to. He started RD's Total Lawn back in 2018 while he was still working full time for Coca-Cola, slowly building the business on nights and weekends before eventually making the leap into running it full time. And now today, RD's Total Lawn has grown into one of the strongest residential lawn care brands in Bucks County. But what really caught my attention was not just the growth of it, but it was the customer experience that they built. So since 2018, they've earned more than 400 Google reviews while maintaining a 4.9 star rating. And that's just not something that happens by accident. So I would love to dive into that. Ryan, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, Matt. Thanks so much for having me, man. Appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, man. So let's take us back. Yeah, let's hear the story. 2018. What were you doing? What made you take the leap into doing this full time?
Yeah, so I was working. Actually, my wife was a teacher full time. I was working at Coca-Cola. Awesome job. I mean, really, we got into Dave Ramsey, if anyone follows along with Dave Ramsey. And our goal was really kind of pay off some debt. And really, what we are trying to do is save up some money for my wife's maternity leave with our second child. So, really, in the beginning, just started kind of like probably a lot of guys are. It's a push mower. I had a string trimmer already, grabbed a backpack blower and just kind of did it on the side for some side money. So, yeah, I mean, we did that. And again, the goal was just extra money, save up for paternity leave for my wife. And it just kind of took off from there. I mean, we put it in God's hands and it just has grown over the years. Pretty quickly, I'd say, though, working for myself. And again, I worked at Coca-Cola, so it was an awesome job, but there's nothing like working for yourself. I knew pretty quickly, like, oh, I could dig this. I could see myself working for myself in the future, like full time. So pretty early on, that was kind of the itch. That was kind of the goal. But step one was really get my wife home, have her take extended maternity leave. That kind of evolved into, hey, maybe you don't need to go back to work. I can just keep working at Coke. I have the lawn side business. You can be stay at home. That was always like kind of the goal there as well. And then maybe one day, God willing, we can, I can leave Coca-Cola and we can go full time in the business. So just kind of progressed over the years. And I held on to it for a while. I stayed at Coke. I was working Coke and running the side business for the first 7 years, actually. I mean, we had crews running. I had full-time guys. It was a hard gig to give up, but I really wanted to get it so established to the point where I felt confident that we could make the leap and we can support. I now have 3 kids. Me and my wife have 3 kids. We can support the whole household on, making tall grass short. So, and God willing, it worked out and here we are today.
Fantastic, man. Well, congratulations. Congratulations on the growing family and obviously the growing business and where you started and where you got to today. So, talk to me a little bit about the business. So, obviously you mentioned that we started out as mowing. Was it mowing only always, or did we do anything else in addition to that? Was it landscaping? Because from my understanding, you now offer like full fert and weed control and everything like that.
Yeah, full service today. When it started, it was just mowing. I mean, I didn't even want to sling mulch because I was working a 9 to 5. I
Exhausting,
only
yeah.
had so much time. So it's really just, cutting lawns after work during the week and on Saturday. Slowly, as I got employees and stuff, we started adding, okay, we can do some mulch installs. We can do some bush trimmings. We can do some yard cleanups. We can add that in. I have the manpower to do it. And then actually recently, once I made the leap to go full time, which was not long ago, this is our 9th season in business, really. It's season 7 is when I went full time. So it hasn't been a ton long, but that's when I took on the fertilizer weed control. So today we have about 15 employees between full-timers and part-timers. We have 2 office ladies. I just hired a supervisor today or this year to kind of oversee everything, but we do full scale. I say we have 4 divisions. We have lawn mowing, we have landscaping, fertilizer and weed control and treatments, and then snow and ice. So that's kind of like our 4 divisions today that kind of cover all the different seasons.
Fantastic. So, very interested in like how do we land that first client? Obviously, like that's taking us way back. But typically, like the first client, first handful of clients, building up that trust when you have nothing behind you can often be like the hardest part. A lot of people have a fall off. Now, it obviously you can undercut some of the bigger guys as sort of an intro, but how did you land those intro clients, and then what is that big difference now? Like, how are you landing them now versus when you first got your first ones?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I mean, even today, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. Just kinda went out there, posted on Facebook. I had a Nextdoor account that I posted and just kinda picked up some customers, priced them completely way too low, which is probably why they said yes for the most
Yeah.
part. In the beginning, you learn that's how you learn, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, just kinda posting on Facebook cheap stuff. I didn't spend a lot of money. Like from day one, we've always been like cash flow positive. Like I've never been at a point where like I can just dump money in and lose money. I needed this money. I started in the
Mhm.
beginning as side money so my wife cannot work. So non-profitable is not a thing. So yeah, I mean, it was always anything to make money, pick up customers. Very slow in the beginning. It was mostly just word of mouth. Obviously, I didn't have like a wrap truck and trailer and all that. And, my logo and all the branding was completely different and really non existent. So it was just kind of slow and steady. You pick up a neighbor and then you do a really good job. And again, in the beginning, it's me. I'm doing everything. I'm the
Mhm.
face. I'm talking to the customer. It's very small. They have a good experience. I'm the cheapest because I underprice, right? And then they're telling their neighbor and their friend, and it's kinda slow grow. Like, I think the first year, again, this is part-time, we ended with, like, 20 clients, like, 20 mowing clients, like, pretty small. But really, like, I think if you just in this industry, it seems like for the most part, at least with the mowing and the landscaping, I mean, if you can do what you say you're gonna do, be reliable, dependable, show up, and professional, like, you're probably gonna just pick up business that way. So that was in the beginning, just showing up and doing it. Today, a lot different, right? We need a lot more. We need a lot of leads. We need a lot coming in to keep all of our crews, right, busy and rocking and rolling. Now I think it's turned into more of a branding play. I would say at probably like year 6 and 7, I started to feel a shift where it was like, oh, we actually have like a brand and like people are like seeing our trucks out there and people are seeing our yard signs and we're getting a lot more of like they know us in the neighborhood. And again, I like to be big fish, small pond, meaning like I like to really try to go heavy in a dense area, right? And we're big on branding. All our trucks, we're getting our 10th vehicle wrapped. We're wrapping everything. Trucks, we have box trucks, we're logoing it all up. We have enclosed trailers, we're logoing like everything's got to have logo and branding's got to be strong. We do a lot of yard signs. We have spray signs that we put up for treatment. So we want the RD, the green hair guy, like we want him everywhere we possibly can because when you have a branded search, like even online, when I'm looking at my Google console, like people are finding us. Yeah, we get the lawn care near me and all that, and that's great. There's a lot to it, but a lot of it is branded search. Like they're typing RD's total lawn. Now, did they see the truck? Does their neighbor do it? Did they see us on Facebook? Who knows? But the brand is really what we're trying to build. So today when I spend money, I'm like, I want to make sure my branding's on point. Branding's a long game. It's not like overnight. And that's why I say like probably year 7, I felt a little more that branding start to snowball and pick up for us.
I love it. Yeah, you're definitely building a reputation that's very recognizable in your area. You're gonna kinda create that omnipresence locally, so I love to see that. I also got a chance to check out, some of your social media too, and you're still I mean, RDs, so obviously the initials, so that's the reputation. It's you, obviously, and your team, but, I see your face on there, so you're making videos. Talk to me about that. Why did you decide, "Hey, like, I'm gonna get on camera. I'm gonna film some selfies. I'm gonna talk about what we're doing."
Yeah, I mean, we're like the line we use is like we're big enough to deliver but small enough to care. So we kind of want the balance where like we're a decent size operation. We have a team of guys, super dependable. They're awesome, but we're not a huge corporation, right? It's 15 guys, field guys. We're not multiple locations. We're not corporate. We're not like 70 guys out there. Like so, there's still that small feel. I want that, but we're also professional. Where like when I go on vacation, things are still getting done.
Mhm.
If I'm sick or something like that, or I got hurt, like everything still operates as it would even if I was healthy. So, that's the nice balance that we're in. We're in a really good spot. I feel like where we are. We're small enough. I can have my hand around a lot of stuff, but we're big enough so that we have a little bit of that reputation and power there. So it's a
Sure.
nice mix. But I like to put my face on it because it's my initials is my
Yeah.
small business. Like while I can do it, and I'm out there. I still like to enjoy, kind of get out there and put my face behind the brand still.
Yeah. And the brands Wonderful, and, like, with logos and colors, like, there's obviously something to a nice clean brand, but the human element is always so necessary, and so I just know that, like, the owners, even if they're not the ones that are coming out, if they're not even the ones in the trucks anymore, as long as you can show, like, "Hey, I'm a real person, I'm a neighbor of yours, I care about this community, I'm part of it," that builds some internal trust. So with that, I mean, obviously, in the beginning, you're out there, you're doing the work. What's your role now, and how did you get there? When did you get there?
Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely wore a lot of hats, wore every hat, right? And today is a lot different than it used to be. I had a coach that he told me, like, as the CEO and the owner, you have three things that you got to focus on: cast the vision, build the team, don't run out of money. Right. So, like, on a large scale, that's not like my day to day what I'm doing every day, but like that's kind of like my responsibilities, and Jonathan Potoshnik, he says another way, like, you want to sell the work and hire people to do the work. Like, on a big high level, like that's kind of what I'm looking to do, right? We're trying to improve processes. Every day's a little different here. I will say last year I was all like the operations. I didn't have an operations manager. So it was routing the guys, it was getting them all set up, it was dealing with customer issues, doing estimates, it was all that type of stuff. I'm lucky and blessed to have a guy, Mike, that I hired this year who's taking that on, which has been like game changer having him on the team. And the year before that, it was like I was the office person. I was answering all the phones and texts and emails. Now I have office ladies that are doing that. So every year it's like I've wore the different main hat. Last year was the supervisor hat. Year before was probably the office hat. Before that was like more like everything and in the field hat, and in the beginning you're the everything hat, you're doing it all. So yeah, today's more like owner, like kind of making sure, keeping a pulse check on the team, making sure everybody's like got what they need. There's not big issues going on. Make sure everybody has what they need, right? Like, my goal today would be my team, what obstacles are in their way that are preventing them from doing their job that I need to get involved to remove. Because I'm only as effective as how effective is my team. And if they're hitting roadblocks somewhere, I need to get involved and help them so that they can do their jobs. So a little more high level and, vision. We're planning a lot of things like that, calls, and really just trying to get better and develop. But I would say the biggest hat I'm wearing this year is like sales. I'm trying to figure out, how do I get more leads, not really for our mowing and landscaping division. They're pretty healthy and strong and growing. It's really that fertilizer weed control. That's the focus of where we want to go in the future, is to grow and scale that. Like today, fertilizer weed control is about 25% of our business. We want that to be the primary function. Like, mowing is about 55% of our business, 50-55. We want to continue to shift all energy, focus, resources to that fertilizer weed control division is really what we're trying to scale. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I grow and scale this? And growing that has been a lot different than the mowing and the landscaping. I've noticed the biggest difference with me for mowing and landscaping, most of the problems, and I'm in some peer groups and things like that, and it seems like most of the discussions with the guys that do mowing and landscaping, it's all operational, right? How do we do it efficiently? How do I hire people to get the work done? When you go into the fertilizer weed control world, it's a whole different animal. It's not so much the operations that's the problem. It's the sales. It's getting the leads. It's your sales process. It's following up. It's closing is really more where the focus. And when I'm in these different peer groups, like the fertilizer weed control peer groups that I'm in, they're all talking about sales. How do we get more leads? How do we close more leads? How do we, improve that process? And when I'm in the other peer groups with the mowing, it's like more like, hey, I got all these guys. How do I make them more efficient? I need better equipment. I got to do better routing. Like, it's it's just a different problem, which is cool. I mean, business ownership, right? You're always just solving problems, but long-winded, but that's kind of where we are at today.
So, I love to hear that you're part of, like, peer groups. You said that you have a coach. Highly recommend that to everybody. So that's gonna be one of the big standout things that I see with businesses like you and business owners like you. So, kudos to you on that. In terms of, like, the lead flow, though, like, you say that mowing, landscaping, not a problem. Growing the fert and weed control side, a little bit tougher. Is that more of a messaging issue? Like, what do you think the issue is, and, like, where do you, like, what do you think your next steps are in terms of like educating, selling, and obviously just getting it out there to potentially grow that division?
Yeah, I think when you're in the fertilizer weed control world, like you're just competing with guys that are a lot more corporate and national, and they have big marketing budgets and they have teams that
Mhm.
this is all they do is try to market. So it's not to say that we're not getting leads. We're getting a ton of leads. I think I was looking today. We had 700 leads for fertilizer weed control in the year, which is awesome. But we can scale fertilizer weed control way more. Like if I'm mowing 500 customers every single week, or I'm treating 500 fertilizer weed control customers, it's a lot easier to deliver on the fertilizer weed control. You need a lot more equipment and manpower to do the mowing. So scalability, we just have a lot more capacity with fertilizer weed control. So like we're getting the leads and all, but it's like, man, we can just handle so many more. Where
Mm,
mowing, like I wouldn't be able to handle another 500 mowing right now. You know,
sure.
we're doing well over 500, and that like with our equipment and all that, that we're kind of like close to max. So yeah, I mean, it's just, and I don't know. That's why I'm trying to learn like what's the next best thing to get more leads. I would say like our Google presence is really strong. We get a ton of leads on Google. That's our number one source. One thing I need to do work on and learn about is more like the Facebook side. Because I know guys like I'm in some peer groups that these guys are just they're studs and they are crushing it with their leads. And a lot of them are saying we're getting them from Facebook. And
Yeah.
that's not the case for me. So I have low hanging fruit. I need to figure out, Facebook ads and the marketing side of it and get that lead flow going. So I think my next thing will probably be figuring out Facebook. I think your close ratio is going to be different on Facebook from Google, probably, I'm sure. And it's going to be a little different customer, but not to say you could still pick up customers, on Facebook. So I think that's the next thing that we're going to be targeting, trying to figure out.
Yeah, that's great. So we also see, yeah, Facebook's pretty great for lawn care related services. A couple things that you have to do in order to find that success. First off, you have to understand the type of person that's going to be on there. So on Google, these are people that are showing what's called a high search intent. They're typing in exactly what they're looking for. If you're targeting them on Facebook, you're likely catching them. They're laying on the couch or sitting on a toilet. They're just scrolling on their phone mindlessly. So you got to give them a reason to stop. So the big thing that works really well is have some sort of offer. So what we typically see in the space is the most common one, and the one that works really well is, I mean, you got big, bold, free, and people love seeing free stuff. And so they'll at least inquire. And so the big free thing is, and ideally, those that are in the lawn care space, we would love to see it if everybody's doing some sort of annual program rather than just like one offs. So with that, you can say your first service is free if you sign up for an annual program. Boom, that gets them in, that hooks it. And you're absolutely right though. The close rates are going to be substantially different, much lower on Facebook. Uh, just from the data, I mean, in the green industry, it's closer to 5 to 10% that come in versus like if they're coming in from Google, we're seeing closer to 60 to 70
Mm,
percent. So it's
wow.
substantially different, but you're dealing with a much bigger volume. So you can still find a ton of success. You throw in the automations here and there so that you can handle it. Obviously, you say you have two people in office, so that's their problem. But that's one of those things. It's like, yeah, you do want to be everywhere. There are a ton of people, obviously, on Facebook and Instagram, and there's definitely an untapped resource for you. So I would look at that as very exciting, because yeah, I mean, you're doing all of this without having tapped into that yet. Ton of success that's still being left on the table for now. So that's really exciting. So you said no experience on Facebook other than just like obviously like posting and everything.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I run like I probably just put money in the paper shredder, but we spend a little money, we get a little bit of leads, but it's definitely not something we've perfected. So yeah,
Sure.
everything you're saying totally makes sense. Yeah, we got work to do.
So you say you have two people in the office, and your main focus though is sales. So talk to me about that. Talk to me about the office staff, because I often hear owners. I mean, they're out in the trucks handling the phone calls too, out in the field missing phone calls because they're out doing work. Like, talk to me about that office staff. What do they do? When did you realize like, hey, I need to have somebody in office, and has it been worth it? And I hope
Yeah.
they're not listening if you say no. I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, our office ladies are phenomenal. I hired my second one this year. My first one, I had Annalisa. She is just game changer. She is like a complete blessing that we forgot her. I knew I needed because it was like I was in the field doing the whole operations role. This was, I guess, 2 or 3 years ago, and then it was like all night, all weekend. I'm answering emails and texts and all this, and I could never catch up. And our response time was just horrendous. It was
Mm.
like, it would be like, I tell my wife, hey, I got to go in the basement tonight for like 4 or 5 hours, just catch up on texts and emails. And it was just, I was like, this is like not fun. This isn't fun anymore. And we were doing a terrible job. Like customers are waiting for days to get a reply. It's horrendous. So anyway, which is all good. It's all pain that you learn and you figure it out and you move forward. So that's when I knew, I'm like, man, our response time's terrible. I'm not having any fun. I don't really like on the computer and on the phone and all that. So that's when I hired her. She's been game changer. So they do everything, anything you can do from the computer in the office, like they're doing. So that could be answering phones is the first one. So like both ladies will answer phones, and then we also have an answering service. So if you ever call our line, you're talking to a human. There's like less than a 2% chance that it's going to go to like a voicemail. So we like to answer all the phones live. I think that's the first big one. They're answering all the emails that come in, all the text messages that come in, and it's a lot. That alone, I mean, the amount of clients that we serve, like there's just a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of upkeep every single day with all that stuff. So phones, text, email, so all the communication essentially. They're doing a lot in our software. So setting up jobs, like they'll send out pricing. So if somebody goes on, requests a price, we're lucky, like with our industry, we can price most of it, just measure the turf, measure the property, send them a price. So
Mm.
they do that. Like they take the leads in and their speed to lead is our game. Like we want within a couple hours, ideally, if you've reached out for pricing, you have it and we're ready to set you up and move forward. So they're handling that whole process. They're measuring the turf, they're sending it off. We have a lot of automations built out, so a lot of the follow-up is kind of there, but they'll also do follow-ups. They'll do outbound call follow-ups. They'll be setting up customers, getting their card on file. They'll be reaching out to them on their account if they need to do anything. They're setting up the jobs into our software, putting it onto the dispatch manager, the operations manager can then route it. So they kind of handle like the whole thing on the back end there, which is like amazing. We're so lucky to have them. So yeah, I would say as soon as you have that feeling like I did, where I'm like, man, I'm like always, I just can never catch up. And every night I'm in here on the computer, like it's probably time. It's probably time to look in and you can hire them virtually. You don't need an office building necessarily. I have an office person today. I mean, it's 2026. They have a computer, you can hire them virtually, they can kind of manage it, all of the different softwares that they can have access to all the stuff that they would need, right? So it's been a game changer for us. It's like it's so helpful having office people.
I love it. And that's such a good story and testament to the importance of it. You went from being on the defensive, like everything's coming in, the leads are coming in, you're getting swamped, it's taking away from your personal life, which is the whole reason why you even started this. And now with an office staff, you're going on the offensive. You're obviously handling the leads, but now they're making calls outbound. Now they're actually like going and chasing them too. So you went from defense to offense with that. I can only imagine that's just been an absolute wrecking ball of a game changer for you. So I love to hear it. Definitely want to kind of emphasize the importance of that. Yes, obviously, the owner will probably always be the best salesman because it's the face of the company. They know the craft very well, but you can train somebody up. You can train somebody up and then you can free yourself up as the owner to do those higher value tasks throughout the day, like leading the company, working on the company rather than in the company. It's just eventually it's a great problem to have and an even better problem to solve. When they're coming, those leads are coming in and drowning you.
Definitely.
So leads are coming in. You mentioned Google. Google is your number one lead source. And I hear it all the time. I mean, obviously, word of mouth and your work doing the talking for you is always great. Probably going to be the easiest close. Typically, you have some trust built in for word of mouth leads, but greatest source of leads right now, Google. I think it's very apparent that you are doing well on Google, specifically on your Google reviews and your Google business profile. Talk to me about what you guys are doing. What's the secret sauce for you guys to generate so many reviews consistently and also maintaining such a high star?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's a secret sauce. If there's a secret sauce, it's have good employees that do a good job. They care. And, we're super lucky. We have awesome guys. They really take pride in their work. So that's probably the start of it, right? Do good work. But if there's any secret sauce, it's just ask. I mean, believe it or not, we probably got to I think we got to 300 reviews without any special thing besides just asking the customers. No like software or anything like that. Not that that can super help you and speed up the process, and maybe we should have it sooner, but I mean, we just asked. We just asked the question like, "Hey, were you happy with service? Yeah. Would you mind leaving us a review? It would really mean a lot to us." So that's kind
Love
of
it.
like all we did to get and you'd be surprised, like, people were willing to do it. Just ask them, but you have to ask them. If you don't ask them, there's some people like me, if I get a service, I know how important Google reviews are. So if I had a good experience, I'm going on leaving you a Google review, whether you ask me or not. But that's me, and I understand the back end of it. Most people won't do that. You have to ask them. So, I mean, simple as that, ask them. There's definitely some softwares now that we're using that are helpful. We've tried a couple different ones. But man, I mean, you'll notice too, like if you have, let's say you've been servicing a lot of customers and you haven't been asking them, go back and start asking them.
Hmm.
Especially if you've done service for them like recently, you'll you can like quickly catapult and start getting some reviews, especially if they're happy. If they're happy with the services, there's like not really a reason. You can get creative. I mean, you can have some, we've done some stuff over the years. We've had like QR codes that the crew would hand out. The crew have apps that they can text them, like review link. If they were happy with services, they can put a picture. There's a couple different things you can certainly do. But I mean, simple enough, just text them, email them, ask them. You know, whether it's a process too, like once a week. One thing I did for a while, every Saturday morning when I'm catching up on computer work, I would kind of look through the week. And I've done this recently even, look through the week on all the jobs that we completed. And then I would just send off like requests, you know, whether it's an email blast to them, a text or something like that. And again, but I'm just asking them, hey, if you were you happy with services? Was everything good? Yeah, everything was great. Awesome. If you wouldn't mind, it would mean like so much to us if you would, you know, leave us a review. You can incentivize your team too. We've done some of that where the crew can get, hey guys, if you get a Google review and your name's in, I'm gonna throw you $10. You know, there's a
Mm.
lot of different things you can do, but it all comes down to asking,
Yeah.
doing good work, asking the customer, and you know, and I think you'll get them. They'll come in.
I love it. Yeah, I see it so often, where companies are just like sitting on just a couple reviews, and it's just fascinating to me because you're out, you're seeing the people, you're servicing the house, you service them over and over again too. I'm sure they love you. You're part of the community. You're a person. Like, ask for those reviews. I think one of the hard things to sometimes get across when it comes to reviews, though, is the value of them. So I don't know if there was just a very obvious shift for you, but like, would you attribute some of your success on Google to your reviews?
100%. Yeah, it's probably the biggest factor. You know, I think today's day and age, like, you know, and there's stats probably to back all this, but when I'm looking for a service, I just go on Google. Like, I don't even ask, like, you know, maybe I'll ask my friends or something, but I'm like, I just Google companies and whoever's got like the most reviews, like I almost would count that as 100% valid. Like if a company had 4.9 stars, like yeah, they're going to be good. I feel really confident going with that company. Like they have a brand, they have a reputation. I feel good about this. And you'll notice too, like when you have a strong Google presence and good reviews, I mean, you can use that as like a tool in your tool belt, like, and you'll notice things are just easier for you. Like when someone reaches out, hey, here's your price for mowing, here's your price for treatments. Great, you accept. We need a card on file to move forward. Like you would think, maybe you don't think, but some people will be like, wow, everybody puts a card on. Like, yeah, they put a card on because they're like, this company's not going to burn me. Now,
Mhm.
listen, if I had no reviews or I had two, they might be like a little weary about putting their credit card or debit card on file with us. But to me, and every once in a blue, we'll get it. Oh, I don't really like doing that. I don't trust it. And I'm like, I understand, no problem. Go check out our reputation. If you still don't feel comfortable, no problem. We can't work with you though.
Yeah.
You know, and but that's very rare. Like, and I think they're like, yeah, this company's not gonna burn me. Look at their reputation. You
Mhm.
know? So I think it really can work for you. What it'll do for you too is we are, and I don't want to sound like we're perfect on this podcast by any means. We have so much opportunity. We can get better in so many ways. We have low hanging fruit all over the place that we're trying to learn from. But when you do drop the ball and you mess up with a customer, even if it's a newer customer, like they have a lot more grace for you because they know, well, this is probably pretty rare, right? Like they have a good reputation. And even if we do mess up, which we do, they're going to take care of it. And we do. If we mess something up, we are going to take care of it because me taking care of it and paying that money and maintaining our reputation, and it's the right thing to do, is way more important than the little bit of savings I'm going to get in the short term. right? Like long term, it's an investment. Even if we messed up and and it's happened, like we've messed up and it's cost me thousands of dollars. Guess what? It's worth it because one, it's the right thing to do, but two, your reputation is going to stand up long term, and long term reputation is what you need for a good brand. So it's for people that are like unsure about the Google review thing, like it's really should be a high importance for you on your to-do list to kind of build that up.
I love it. And hopefully all the owners hear it from an owner first. It's a game changer. And one of the other things, and I'll be the one to say it because I'm sure there's no issues like this on your end, but one really important thing is like it's almost inevitable you're gonna get a bad review. Everybody makes a mistake. Somebody had a bad day. Heck, I've seen it happen where reviews come in and they're reviewing the wrong company, and sometimes you can't even get those reviews removed. Having a ton of reviews is like that is the strategy. If anybody comes to me and says, "Hey, how do I get rid of this bad review?" Pour 30 good reviews on top of it. And so like that's what you need to be doing. And so yeah, the overall reputation though is just it's going to weigh so heavy on you, how people expect how people expect for you to operate. And obviously these people are going to see that you do value your reputation, and so I can see the trust is already built in. And that's usually something that typically comes from word of mouth. But that's what those reviews are. They're word of mouth from your neighbors, from the community that are saying, hey, hundreds of people very publicly are advocating for your business. Hey, work with them. So can't emphasize reviews enough. I feel like I can just pound the drum on reviews and the importance of those. It's really a game changer for any business. And I'm also a big advocate. Yes, pay your technicians if they can get them, but at the end of the day, it's technically free. So like, do them. There's almost no excuse. Just wire it into your business operations.
Totally. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so started in 2018. Talk to me about COVID. What happened to you guys then? How was 2020? How was the pandemic for you guys? Was there ups? Was there downs? Was it the best time? Was it the worst time? Did it not really change anything?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really change anything, honestly. It was pretty normal here. You know, if anything, I was still at Coca-Cola at this time. So if anything, we were less in person at Coke, which was almost better for us to be just to be able to be a little more present here, essentially. But yeah, I mean, there was no like COVID. I mean, so it seems like it was so long ago. But yeah, no changes. It was totally fine. We didn't like have a big boom or a big bust or anything. It was pretty
Really?
steady normal growth for us. Like I know a lot of guys that are in the project space, I think seen a lot of uptick like with yard type of renovations or projects or putting in hardscaping. It seemed like that had a nice little bump. I guess our leads, it's hard to say. Like we definitely grew a lot that year. I don't know how much of that was COVID or just we were a young company that was just really growing regardless. So
Mhm.
hard to say. I mean, people definitely had some extra money and stuff coming in, which I'm sure helped. But yeah, I mean, we've seen pretty steady healthy growth year over year, every year, and COVID was no different.
Gotcha. Cool. And then very interested in how you've approached the winter months up there. So obviously you guys are offering snow. You said you have a snow division, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Well, when did you make that decision to do snow, and when are you making the decision to get out of there and move into something else to sustain the holidays?
Yeah, snow's been part of our thing from day one. I actually started
Oh, really?
doing snow before I even started like the business actually.
Interesting.
It was the winter prior. Yeah, I mean, snow's kind of necessary. Like our season is really April through late November, right? We're in PA. We're like about 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia. So yeah, winters stink here. Now we try to do everything we can. Like December, we try to do fall cleanups and leaf cleanups, and we keep pretty busy there. March, we try to pull as much work into March that we can, mulch and all that. So we're really looking at January, February are tough months for us. We have not figured out the off season. We are trying to do everything we can. We have some winter services that we're offering, like some we can come out and kind of clean up the property, but and do that on a biweekly basis. Anything we can do in the winter. But yeah, snow's really necessary evil. And I say unfortunately because it's just like a pain in the butt.
Mhm.
It's an emergency service. It's really tough on the guys. It's hard work. It's not fun. You're at the mercy of God's will in the storm. Now the money's great. The profit on snow is awesome. It's just hard, I got 3 young kids, like, we wanna enjoy the snow with them and make snowmen, like, it's like and when snow comes, it's like war, but we really do need it. We need it to pay our bills. We have not figured out the winter just yet. We really I just budget for it, like, I just tell all the guys too, "Hey, man, surprise, surprise, we got winter coming, we won't have work pretty much unless it snows, so save up your money and budget accordingly." So me and my wife are pretty intentional. We'll pile up a ton of money, just have a big lump of money that we have, and we just kind of feed off that, right? We have to still pay a lot of our expenses, our fixed
Mhm.
expenses that we have to pay in
Yep.
the winter, which hurts. So we know that's coming. So we really just build up a big fund and kind of drain it, unfortunately, sadly. But yeah, we haven't quite figured it out. But that's what we do to keep busy over the winter. Just kind of plan for it.
So I've had a few conversations on this podcast about it, and I don't know if you've had a thought on it. I've had some people say that's a great idea. I've had some people that say yes, we're doing it. Have we ever thought about anything as it relates to holiday light installations?
Yeah, no, it's a good call out. I've definitely thought about it. I guess the big hangups with me with holiday lights is it doesn't quite fix the demand for us because we are still busy. Like the way I envision holiday lights would be probably late October if you're getting on them early, maybe on November, very early December. But we're actually pretty busy that time of year. Like we mow until Thanksgiving, end of November. So our mowing, we're like pretty much busy. When December hits, we really slow down, but by then we transition to leaf cleanups, which we stay busy doing leaf cleanups all of December. So it's really like January and February is where we need to find the fix for work. So
Mhm.
holiday lighting doesn't quite fit that timeline, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely an idea. I also don't love the thought, and there's probably ways you could kind of figure it out, but like just getting guys up on ladders and on the roof.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the liability to me, I don't love it. Not to say never that we wouldn't do it, but for us currently, it doesn't quite fix the problem for the demand of work at the time. But I know
yeah.
I mean, it seems like a growing thing. I see companies doing it and making good money. Seems like a fix for a lot of people, but yeah, who knows? Maybe one day, but doesn't seem like quite the fix for us just yet.
Sure. Yeah, totally get it. Yeah, that window that you're trying to thread that needle, January, February, maybe the takedown portion of it, because that in itself is should be a part of the holiday light experience. But yeah, you do have a very tight window that you're just like, yikes! Like we know, pun intended, the winter's coming. It's just like it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But at the same time, and I know you said the bigger companies obviously can put a ton of money into marketing, but you're also like kind of at in a tough crossroads because you typically want to market just before season starts. And that's tough because that's when you're already like running on fumes and cash reserves. And you want to put yourself out there, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, you have to be mindful of like what you have on hand in terms of cash. So like what do you do? Like, are you doing any sort of like marketing in February for your services? And I know you said peak season's April, but people start looking once the sun comes out, once there's a hint of something
Yeah.
that of a spring around the corner.
Yeah, no, you hit it. I mean, you got it totally. Most of our marketing budget is spent between February and April.
Mm,
Like that's when we start spending heavily in marketing in February, which again is a really tough time. Like we were really lucky last winter was strong for us, so we had the probably the best winter I've ever been alive in my life with how much snow we had. So it was awesome. But usually we kind of budget where we plan for that. Like we know we're gonna have some money. But yeah, we start spending a lot of money in February. You need to be ahead of like with the lawn and landscape market, like you have spring rush. And if you miss spring rush and if you don't like kick butt in spring, like you're probably gonna your selling season is kind of over until the fall. That's how we've been in our market. Like we get a massive insane upkick in the spring and then it kind of tails off until the fall. We get a little second kick in this fall, but nothing like the spring. So yeah, our marketing dollars are very heavy in the early spring, and then we kind of tail off a little bit with them because your CAC really drops once those leads kind of fall off. Like this time of year, right when we're getting into July here, like it really starts to slow down the lead flow.
Uh, Ryan, I did have one final question for you. If you and I were to sit down 5 years from now, what do you envision Artie's Total Lawn looking like? Where do you wanna be? What services do you wanna offer? Like, are you retired? Probably not. But, like, what is 5 years, like, best case scenario look like?
Yeah. Great question. And it always changes for me. Like I always set a goal and it changes. I would say whatever the Lord has for me, I'm ready to take it on. I imagine that will look like I'm still active in the business. But best case scenario, like my kids are 9, 6, and 3. They're young. I want to try to enjoy them as much as I possibly can. And I've worked a lot the past 9 years, call it. So I want to create a business that's a little more a business and not just a really good job that I own. And what I mean by that is like I could kind of step away for a couple weeks and go on vacation or spend time with the family or kids and like things are still operating and running efficiently. But I would love to just keep building our team, have slow, steady growth. Fertilizer weed control is going to be on the forefront of that, but really have a business that kind of runs like clockwork. I'm not super obsessed with some massive operation. If that's what the Lord has for me, that's great. But I'm more obsessed with like just having something that's running efficiently, clockwork. We have an awesome team. We're impacting lives. There's guys here that really enjoy their job. They're treated good. They love coming to work. I think we have that today, and I want to continue to build on that. So again, not exactly a dollar number or size or all that. It's really kind of some harmony in my life, a good work-life balance, and just having guys that come to work and just kick butt and love it and have a good time. That's kind of what I'm shooting for.
Awesome, man. And that's what it's all about. You're working for your personal life. So for your family, for yourself, it's not supposed to be dragging you into the ground. Yes, we're all gonna have our bad days. We're all gonna have those tireless nights. Sometimes we do have to go to the basement and work for 4 hours, but it's all for the bigger picture. And I love that you're focusing on the operations and getting things to run smoothly because over time those things are going to compound. They're going to stack up, and yeah, you're going to have a flawlessly run company where you can take a vacation and everything doesn't crumble. So kudos to you and what you're building. It sounds incredible. So let's go ahead. Tell everybody who you are. What's the name of the company? What do you do? And who do you serve?
Yeah, we are. My name is Ryan Dittes. I'm with RD's Total Lawn. We're out of Langhorne, Pennsylvania, so Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and we're 100% residential. We grow it and we mow it. I mean, it's essentially what we're doing. We're all on your turf. We're worrying about your lawn. That's our deal.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you for taking the time to tune in, listening to Ryan and myself chat it up, learning a little bit more about Ryan's story. He's started at Coca-Cola and now he ended up here. He dug in and he made the leap, took the leap of faith for himself, for his family, and now he's built one of the most successful lawn care companies in Bucks County, and it's only getting better from here. And it's been exciting learning a little bit more about you, Ryan, learning about the journey, learning about the ups and downs, the lessons that you learned along the way. So, everybody, thank you so much for taking the time. If you got anything out of this, please share it with whoever you think might get something out of this. But that's going to be a wrap on this episode of the Mo Money, Mo Problems podcast. Thank you again for tuning in. Ryan, incredible having you, man.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you.
You got it.